Hi, my name is Maddie. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a graduate student at the University of Vermont, studying higher education student affairs. And today we're going to talk about high impact practices. What are they? What do they mean? And who are they including and excluding? So, what are high impact practices? They can be a lot of things. It can also be not a lot of things. It kind of depends on how your institution or how you define it yourself. But basically, it's a group of practices that include teaching and learning, that help students engage with their academics and also help with student retention, which can also be a loaded concept. I'll let you explore that in a different video. But some of these experiences can include first year seminars, writing intensive courses, learning communities, basically different practices or activities that can be in a classroom, out of the classroom, that help students stay engaged. So I'm going to talk about a personal experience I had with a high impact practice and sort of unpack what that meant for me. So during my sophomore year of college, for context, I went to a small private Catholic institution in Massachusetts. Learning communities was a requirement of graduation. We had to complete learning community. And what learning community looked like was these two courses that were, well, it could be two or three courses, but in my experience, it was two courses. They're sort of grouped by a common theme. The point was sort of to explore different interdisciplinaries to further educate on the topic. For example, my learning community was about sort of on the specific idea in English called signals to noise, sort of deciphering what sort of information can we get from all the data that's out there. And data can be readings, it can be novels, it can be articles online, it could be online content in general. So in my English course of that section, we talked about Dracula, we talked about Heart of Darkness, we read different materials. It was very much like a typical English course. But then the other one credit course that was added on top of that was a digital humanities course, which, if you're not familiar with the term, it's sort of taking different concepts from humanities and sort of bridging the gap between technological skills and humanities skills, which was pretty cool. And from that, we were able to learn some more computer skills and some new software. We were mapping Dracula on a sort of software map where we could visualize sort of what the common themes were. One of the projects we did was tracking how many times a female character talked, which was really interesting. And yeah, that was sort of a impactful experience for my learning. But these experiences aren't monolithic and they can mean a lot of different things to different people. So how can high impact practices be exclusionary? I think there's in a few different ways. Basically, you can look at different institutional types and sort of the resources they allocate towards high impact learning practices. So maybe Jerry here goes to a 4-year private institution where they have an internship requirement as part of their program. I know personally in my undergrad experience, an internship was required for my major. And so there are a lot of resources allocated to ensure that I had an internship, I got one, and to make it more of a learning experience and reflective practice overall. So thank you, Jerry. Let's say Steve over here, maybe he went to a community college where internships weren't a requirement. There weren't a huge stress on that. Maybe he was interested in a internship but didn't know how to get one exactly, and the resources weren't available towards him. So unfortunately, Steve, he has all the abilities and same capabilities as Jerry, but due to institutional resources and other external factors, he was unable to get one. So how about that? I won't use my Squishmallows for my next example, but high impact practices can also be exclusionary in the way with student identities. So high impact practices can also tend to center whiteness. An article from Stuart Nicolazzo in 2018, they talk about how high impact practices such as study abroad or internships can be exclusionary for trans students and also center whiteness in them. For example, say you're applying for an internship or study abroad, the application to go through a visa can be very triggering and difficult for trans students who may have to use their dead name in order to get certain papers signed in order for them to actually go abroad, and therefore excluding those students from that experience.